All right, we are heading out. It's probably going to be the last project of the year. We're getting down to the end of trail season in the mountains. Someplace it already is over for high mountain trails. It is October 24th today. Heading up County Road 306 outside of Buena Vista. Right now we're going to go over Cottonwood Pass. So I'll show you what it looks like on the top. And Cottonwood's scheduled to be closed next Sunday, so time change day on November 2nd is the closure day for Cottonwood Pass, and obviously that always means everything's coming to the end of a season too. But we've got some signs to work on that we needed to get done before winter, so we're heading over to Taylor Park today. We'll go up through the town of Tin Cup and then up around to Mirror Lake. And once we get closer over there, I'll show you what we're going to do and talk to you about the signs and why we're putting them in and who asked us to do it. We're getting close to the top up there. There's not a ton of snow. You can see there's been some though on the sides of the road here. We'll see what it looks like on the Taylor Park side. Here we are rolling right up to the summit now, onto the other side, and I mean you can see what happens. You know, this time of the year, it doesn't take a lot around 12,000 feet. You know, once you get snow like this, this late in the season, this is going to be here. I mean, it's effectively winter now in the mountains. It is a beautiful day. There's zero wind. It is right at 12 noon right now as we're coming over, and it's 37 degrees here on the top. So it is not going to warm up much beyond that today. And that's, you know, trail season, I usually talk about Halloween as kind of the tipping point. And obviously we're before Halloween now with some of these snowstorms that have already rolled through, but it always feels like Halloween's kind of the tipping point for stuff in the mountains. Look at this guy. He's practicing for cross-country skiing. He's got his rollerblade style cross-country skis on going up the pass. He's getting ready for winter. He knows it's coming too. Yeah, Halloween is kind of, you just don't go in the mountains much after that. I'll show you some pictures as we're driving down here towards Taylor Reservoir. I got these on Trails Off Road in the last couple days. So on one of our adopted trails, Pomeroy Lake, right at the very beginning off the main Hancock Road, not only is there a tree down from some of the windstorms that have come through with the snowstorms, but there's an ice flow there too. And that's what sometimes happens, and what you got to really be careful of is these freeze-thaw cycles. There's some more people practicing cross-country skiing. These freeze-thaw cycles that happen this time of year, where even if it gets nice enough to thaw out for a bit and that water runs just a little bit, then it starts freezing again, and that's what will cause these ice flows across the road. And those can be really dangerous. I mean, at least right now you could see that one, but if it had snowed just an inch or two and it covered that ice, if you drove out on there, it could, you know, you could slip right off the trail pretty easy. This next one is from like 4 days ago on Mount Antero. And even though there's not a lot of snow in terms of continuous snow all over the ground in depth, the winds that you'll get in the mountains can build drifts like this. Just a couple of snows where you get a skiff, high winds, and you get a whole bunch of snow will collect in the edge of the road and make it impassable like this, way out on a shelf road. We really don't mess with roads in high mountain trails this time of year because the conditions and just how dangerous it gets with freezing temperatures in the mountains. So we might look, once we get above Mirror today, what Tin Cup looks like. We opted to take Cottonwood over just to get over there for sure, get set up, do our work, and we'll look at Tin Cup and see what it looks like. Okay, we're rolling through Tin Cup now. We're gonna make the left here to go up towards Mirror. It's actually pretty decent over here. It's dead calm, no wind, and it was 46 degrees. Nice temperature for late October in the mountains. So here we are, just crested up the hill to Mirror Lake. So we'll drive down over here and kind of stage up right off the edge and go from there. So this is what it looks like on low season. I mean, look how much down the water is compared to even these U channels up here, down considerably lower to, you know, when the road is totally flooded. We brought the official tools today to make sure we get the lowest spot of the road, right, Mike?
Yep, sir.
Brought the laser.
Laser.
We'll shoot the highest point first, and then
Work our way.
We'll see if we can find the lowest spot, then we can put that gauge and get the bottom of that gauge zeroed up with the bottom of the lowest spot on the road. So we checked it with the laser right through here, and if you've driven the lake in the water, you know that like right through here is about the lowest spot where it's deepest, right next to this. We put a single post in here 2 summers ago just to help mark everything. But if you're driving, this is about the deepest spot. So gradually starts to go up down where they are. Then it all the way through where this water is until it exits the road is about the deepest part. And then it starts to go up down there where Grant is. So we'll try and use this one. We're going to double it up. We'll see if we can make it into a gauge post here, attach the gauge and set that bottom of the gauge with the height of the road here. It's not bad over here, huh? It's pretty.
without any wind, it's nice.
Man, it is. No wind at all.
Better warm up.
Yeah.
So that's what it did last time, though. It did a good job.
For getting it started.
Yeah, it did. Like last time, it pretty much got it started every time.
Who was in charge of that? May flood.
You got idiot-proof it so that they don't.
Texas and Florida people, be advised.
You were in charge of him, Lydia.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm babysitting you.
All right, there we go. Let the road may flood sign in. Way up here, the water will probably get up here close to it, but at least got that in first, and then I'm gonna go out here where in front of the Jeeps. Yeah, we probably can if we punch this one in really deep. See how deep? Because we'll go, yeah, right on the edge of the road, so it's still up here on the top, but right on the edge of the road. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we could pull you across.
Sean might have to get over here with that truck to stand on. Line up. Is that almost the top? Close. I guess I could go down a little more, huh? Nah.
You up there.
She's a little.
That'll work right there, boss.
That'll work there?
Yeah.
Let me find where the... Here, I think you could just throw that top one in the sign.
Okay.
And then we'll throw it through this one.
Oh, yeah, go through and through.
Through and through, and then we'll set the top of the sign where you guys want it relative to the road. Right?
No, woman.
Feel good about that? I feel good about that.
I like it.
To the height of the road there, right where that Jeep just drove through. So we should be all set for next high water season. And the nice thing is that right over there, where that other Jeep is sitting, you'll be able to look over here because that thing is so big and either see it, or if you pulled out a set of binoculars, you'll be able to check and see what the water depth is. And then this way we start getting away from the, people saying, just throwing out wild numbers as to how deep they think the lake is, whether it's 5 or 6 feet deep. The most we've seen it over here is about 50 inches deep, and that's only for a short period during peak runoff. And usually when we cross it, it's around 36 to 40 inches deep, so it'd still be under that 4-foot mark there, between the 3 and the 3.5 foot section right in there when we've driven through it. But you can see how much lower it is right there. I might get a, if I have a tape measure, I might get a tape measure out and see how much lower it is right now. I mean, it looks a lot different now than where we're at. What do you think, Mikey? Yeah, I'd like an inch right there, right there. What is that? 2.5 feet. Yeah, so it's about 2.5 feet below the base of the road now, and when we crossed, it was about 36 inches deep, so it's down 5.5 feet from peak water. When we opened the pass this year, it's a pretty big drop from the high point of the lake now to the low point right before it's gonna probably start freezing here in the next couple weeks. So that looks pretty good here. I mean, when we drive by it, it's, you know, the camera makes it seem smaller than it really is, but you'll be able to see it pretty easy. And now you know why we always say, at least in my videos, stay close to the bank, because this is why. You can clearly see the elevated road over here next to the bank, and then the lake off the edge of the road over there. And I've heard people say all kinds of stuff, but you want to stay near the bank. You know, I don't know how lakes work outside of Colorado. I would assume it's similar, but lakes in Colorado are shallower towards the edge and deeper out there in the middle. So you want to stay on the edge to stay on the road, and we've outlined it with a whole bunch of posts too to try and let you know so you don't get out there and you don't sink a vehicle, and then we're not having these issues. So sometimes the water's clear up here. Like this tree is my gauge. If it's on the road where this dead tree is, then it's well over 40 inches. It's between 40 to 50 inches back there where we put that depth gauge. If that tree is out of the water on the where the road is next to it, if the road's out of the water at the base of that tree, then usually it's 40 or less, and you can, that's when we attempt to cross it. And then this section through here is always outside of the water. But that's that first section, and then the corner down here are the two major problems that will get flooded when this lake water level goes up. So this corner is probably the biggest, you know, eye-opening difference when you're here during low water, where you can see the road. See the road clear over here on the edge, and look how far it drops off in there. And then we are sitting on the road on this side, and see how much farther it is down here compared to where we're sitting. So before we had these posts that are outlining the road, somebody would drive in over there and then try and cut this corner right here and drive off. Look how deep that is, right out in there. And we've even had, there's one down over there that we're going to pull back up, but 6 posts here around this side to keep people up on the road. So even on that road, probably we're shooting the laser right now, probably somewhere around my Jeep is where the, maybe right behind it is where the deepest part is, where it would get 50 inches, 40 to 50 inches over the road. And then again, we're, you know, 2.5-ish or so feet is where the water line is below the road now. So you have to hug the bank and stay on the road all the way around. And that's why these posts are here. There was a, you know, a BV rental company, a Jeep that was over here that Mick from Gunsmoke Towing had to come get it, and it got drug off the edge, but they got way off the side here and filled it with water. And then once it gets filled with water, it gradually starts to move down, you know, lower in the lake. And it was found out there 150 feet off the road here, and 38 feet of water is where they had to hook that thing up before they were able to get it out. See that guy? Have fish swimming around in there. And that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to have a vehicle get off the edge of the road. So we're going to put a depth gauge over here facing that way. So it'll face the way I'm looking. So if you come up over that little rise over there, you'll be able to look over here and see what that gauge looks like. So if you enter from that side, you'll know what the water looks like. And then if you come up from the other side, you'll be able to see that first gauge. And they're usually close. Like the road right here and the road down there are both pretty close. This corner might be just a couple inches deeper than the road down there, but they are both, if you make it through one section, you're probably good to make it through the other section. This way we'll have a depth gauge though, so you can see it from either side as to how deep it is. So we got to find another post. We'll see if we can get this done. Another post to get right on that. It's facing perfect too, right over there. So you'll be able to see it from that side. But while we're trying to find that other post, let me show you some video what it looks like when all of this is covered. Is then you can't see the big drop off right here, which is why you need to stay on the other side of the post when the water is really deep. Yeah, you got it kind of.
Well, you don't want to bounce up your
See, I didn't get it in the video, but Mike, why do you have shorts on now?
kind of was using a tool and it kind of flew into the water.
Yeah, you threw my vice grips in the water, didn't you? And they
then,
sprung right off the edge of that.
Bonus though.
And
Found a jack.
he found a Jeep jack from one of those recoveries down there in the water. So if you lost your jack, your factory jack to change a tire in a Jeep, we found it.
Marker. And then say, oh shit, okay, that's deep. Are you below the level?
Here, you put
It
some,
might be an inch low.
put the little ones in. Double it up somewhere first, yeah. Is that the right height for them to go through?
Yeah.
So we can get this bottom one to go through too? Perfect. Oh, you know what we didn't put in though?
Oh, Marcus.
Just undo that one.
Yeah.
With you? What'd you do with your hammer?
Got it?
Man, seeing water up to here.
Yeah, close, probably close to there. That's
So-
deep.
Yeah,
That's deep. All right, we got that second depth gauge in over there. But look at this. You can see where people have, the rocks are kind of sloughed off and moved down here. People have been in this side. Do not go on this side of those posts. Stay to the bank side. You'll be able to look right over there and see what that depth looks like for next year. All right, we're heading up Tin Cup now. We're going to see what the snow levels look like up higher here and towards the summit. And as long as there's no ice or it's not dangerous, we'll go over it to go home. But we're going to have to go see what it looks like. And maybe we can go out this way, or maybe we're driving back. But again, if we get much more snow up through here at all, this road will be at least not passable all the way over the top for the season. You may be able to drive up one side or the other a little ways. But it's really close. Like I said before, Halloween's kind of the breakover where you could consider it still trail season in the mountains or not. I saw some photos from 2 days ago on Engineer. A couple from Florida was up there and got in that snowstorm where it was really deep. So you just never know. You got to really pay attention this time of year to the weather, whether you're hunting or just looking to go out and about. But yeah, pretty good year. This is our last project. It's kind of cool that if you watched our Tin Cup video of opening Tin Cup and then driving over here through the lake, you can see what the difference is in terms of the water level and, flying the drone around the lake so you can see how the road is clearly visible this time of the year. I mean, this is the lowest part of the season for water, and the road is easily visible around the lake, and it's at least, like as we measured, 2.5 feet below the edge of the lake. The lake is 2.5 feet below the edge of the road, and then you know, what happens, some people think that it rains a lot, or that it's always that way and that the road is always under the water. And really what it is snow melt. So this whole basin up in here that you drive up as you're going up Tin Cup Pass from the Tin Cup side, you know, will get covered in snow, deep snow over the winter. And then as the snow melt really starts to pick up in the spring and early summer, you know, usually around us in central Colorado, it's first to second week in June is peak runoff. And that just means that's when the creeks and the rivers are highest. There's runoff before and after that. But when you have all that snow from this basin melting at a high rate and running down, it's filling that lake faster than it can seep out of that lake on the other end, because there's not a natural outlet, there's not a spillway. It seeps through the ground and then comes out way down below the lake to form the creek. So you have a lot more water coming in at a higher volume than can go out. So that's why that lake level rises. And as you saw, that could rise from, you know, 2.5 feet below the lake right now to 4 feet over the road. So, you know, 6.5 foot difference. That's a big deal between like peak water in June compared to now low water here towards the end of October. But it's manageable for a lot of vehicles throughout the summer if you just stay on the road. So stay on the side of the post, watch the depth gauges, and stay on the road. And as long as you're comfortable with your vehicle fording depths of water that you'll now be able to see on the depth gauges, then you should be fine. We don't need vehicles floating out into that lake or, you know, recoveries trying to pull vehicles out. That's what always causes us issues. And you know, there was some talk of the road actually just being Gunnison issuing a closure order on it until the water had receded enough to go down. We obviously don't want that, because then who makes the call? How deep does it have to be, or how shallow does it have to be in order for the public to go across it? And so that's why we were asked to do this sign project, to get depth gauges, to get the road may flood gauges or signs, and we have a couple other ones that we're going to put up too, just to make sure people stay on the road side and they do not get off the road and out into that lake. So it's not too bad. We went up Old Tin Cup there through the snow, and it's just been a skiff of snow about like this all the way up here towards the top, and obviously you can see tracks. So we are not the first people out today, or even yesterday maybe, that have been up here driving over the top of the pass. I saw a lot of hunting camps and stuff down there, so I'm sure there's still people out and about doing stuff, and maybe even just people like us trying to get one last trip or two in a Jeepin' before this season comes to a close. We're up here at the summit sign now. We'll back everybody in and take a quick photo. In a Jeep, I don't know I've been on Tin Cup this late. Obviously in a month or so we'll be up here on snowmobiles. A lot of people will be, but this will probably be Core's last trip over Tin Cup until we dig it out, probably in June. Well, that's pretty cool on top. And now we're coming down the St. Elmo side of Tin Cup. Looks about the same over here, even though this is kind of a south-facing exposed road section of the shelf. It's still got some decent remnants from that last snow into it. And this probably will be the last time we're over it, right through this section till June. So yeah, we got a while. It is a short season up here, which is why everybody works hard to get out and has a good time, because it does not last very long. We're all the way down now, rolling back out through St. Elmo. Pretty good day out on the trail. That's probably pretty much it for us doing official trail work this year. That's kind of the last thing that was on the docket to get done. So I'm glad we could get up here and get it done before there was too much snow. Obviously you want the lake to be all the way down so that when you're working there, it's on the dry road, just to get the depth gauges and stuff dialed in. So we waited real late in the fall to be able to do this anyway. But hopefully it'll be there for next year, and you guys can ride along with us, or shoot, maybe even volunteer. If you see the volunteer request come up about the big dig in late June when we come up and dig out Tin Cup, we can drive over there and take a look at the lake depth and see if all of our signs and stuff are still up.